Norwich City travel to Molineux this weekend, looking to record only their second Premier League win. Of course, they need points on the board if they are to mount some sort of miraculous great escape, a little miracle as Daniel Farke is calling it. And of course, in Wolverhampton Wanderers, they are facing an opponent who are having to deal with the rigours of European football. They're of course playing in the Europa League on Thursday against Espanyol at Molineux. So Norwich City may encounter a slightly leggy, slightly lethargic Wolves side, although that's what they'll be hoping for. Let's start with Norwich City then. This was the lineup for them against Liverpool. They had Tim Krul in goal, Aaron Zinman, Hanley and Byram as the back four. Teti and McLean were the holding midfielders, with Rupp, Duda and Cantwell all behind Teemu Pukki. This is obviously now my 11, and I'll talk you through the two changes. One is very self-explanatory in terms of Jamal Lewis, who obviously had to come on for Sam Byram, who looks like his season might be over with that hamstring injury that he suffered in the first half against Liverpool. So Jamal Lewis comes in for him, but Lewis was probably quite impressive in the way he actually contained Mohamed Salah for a lot of that game at Carrow Road on Saturday. Probably unfortunate Norwich City certainly to lose the game. I don't think you could argue that Liverpool weren't the better side across the piece. And then the other change I've gone, which is perhaps a little bit harsh on Lucas Rupp, but I have gone for BUENDIA back in the 11. I just think in terms of where Norwich City's season are now, they do need to dance with risk a little bit, and in BUENDIA you've got a player who, if you can catch him on the right day, can certainly create enough opportunities to drag them out of the problem that they are in, because you saw in his brief cameo against Liverpool when he slotted Teemu Pukki in after exchanging passes with Joseph Dermich. That's the quality the Argentinian possesses, and Norwich City are going to need plenty of that on Sunday. Otherwise, it's sort of as you were. The Teti McLean partnership I think is helping Norwich look a bit more solid defensively. Grant Hanley, his resurgence, his performances are certainly keeping Ben Godfrey out of the side at the moment, and rightly so. Christoph Zinman is perhaps the one you could question. Does Godfrey come in back for him? But Zinman has perhaps shown enough with Hanley. They've only conceded one goal in the last two games, and that was Sadio Mane's, of course, after the 0-0 draw at Newcastle. So that partnership seems to be gelling quite nicely. And in the front three, I think in Cantwell and Duda, you've got in Cantwell a ball progressor, in Duda someone who's neat and tidy and can open lines, and certainly seems to have a good relationship with Pukki, although we didn't quite see that at Carrow Road last Saturday. And then BUENDIA is your main creative outlet. So that is the Norwich City side that I've gone for, 4-2-3-1. Again, I think they can use that template that they built against Liverpool in this game, certainly away from home, to certainly absorb pressure, which they might be forced to do, but equally, depending on what sort of Wolves side turns up, they might actually possess a bit more of the possession, which, if they do that, is going to benefit having those technically proficient players in their side. Let's have a look at Wolves then. This is the team that played in the 0-0 draw against Leicester last Friday. They had Rui Patricio in goal, a back three of Willy Boly, Connor Cody, who's their captain, and Roman Sayes. Matt Doherty and Johnny Otto were the two fullbacks. Then Donker and Neves were the partnership in midfield, with Neto and Jota behind Raul Jimenez. In terms of their top goal scorers this season, Jimenez leads the way, and he's one man that I would identify as a threat for Nuno Espirito Santos's side. 11 goals in the Premier League, 6 assists, 1.5 passes per game. That's second for Wolves side, but only behind João Moutinho, who is an excellent ball player. And he's a player really who has had an interesting career, Raul Jimenez, because he's not really been a prolific goal scorer wherever he's been. But at Wolves, he certainly fits into a system whereby he has benefited from the likes of Adama Traore, who I'll come on to in a moment, Jota, João Moutinho, Ruben Neves as well. Packed with quality, this Wolves side. Jimenez is strong with his back to goal. He can hold up the ball. His defensive contribution is pretty decent, and also his awareness, his movement, and he scores a variety of goals as well. It's headed goals, volleyed goals, tap-ins, finishes from outside the box. He's a very versatile, very competent striker, and Norwich City will have to ensure that they do cut off that supply line, because if it is as perhaps we expect, Neves and Moutinho, then of course Wolves are going to be relying on them long switches of play that open up teams with their fullbacks being utilised in a successful way. The other player that I've identified, of course, is Adama Traore, and everyone seems to be talking about him this season, and rightly so. 4 goals, 7 assists. He is pretty much unstoppable when he gets in full flow, running at defenders with the ball. He's got pace, he's got power, he's got strength, and in terms of his metrics and his numbers, you can certainly see why Wolves rely on him so heavily. Although he didn't start against Leicester, whether he'll start in the Europa League could have a massive bearing, because he is a player you feel who does need to be fresh and does need to be playing at 100% in order for Wolves to get their maximum benefit out of him. And Norwich fans will remember watching him for Middlesbrough a few years ago, where he was quick and not a lot else, and now he's quick and does make good decisions in the final third. Key passes 1.4 per game, that's third in Wolves squad. Dribbles 5.4 per game, that's the highest of any other Premier League player. It's incredible. He's the 6th most fouled player in the Premier League, and that is the threat that Norwich City are going to have to contend with. And how they do that is really by working overloads in several areas of the pitch. Nuno Espirito Santos is pivotal on how he sees the game. He sees it as little triangles. Norwich City are going to have to disrupt that. And Wolves are a side who are strong in transition. They're dominant in the transition. They're quick on the counter-attack. It's up to Norwich City to control that. And equally, when they have the ball, and again, Daniel Farke talks about this a lot when he plays counter-attacking sides or teams who are good in the transition. It's going to be all about how Norwich City use the ball when they have it, and if they can use it well. And of course, linking those attacking passages with actually clear-cut chances and ensuring that they can score some goals on their travels. And if they do that, then this has potential for a game that they can extract points from. And they're in a position now, the next 3 games, Wolves, Sheffield United and Leicester, or Wolves, Leicester and Sheffield United, whereby they probably need 2 wins out of those 3 if we're going to be talking about a great escape. But it all starts at Molineux. That's how I see it in terms of lineups. That's how I see it in terms of key men. Norwich City are going to have to work very hard to get anything, I think, from Molineux against a side who are very strong, who have built from the Championship and pretty much walked the Championship, didn't they, in Daniel Farke's first season back in 2018. And they've certainly showed no signs of relenting in the Premier League. And for Norwich City, the task is to cut out individual quality and also how those players link together. Going to be interesting, going to be fascinating to see how they approach it. I'm really looking forward to going to Molineux, to watching this game. I think, again, potential for Norwich City to extract points, but it's all going to be dependent on how they assert themselves in possession and the plans they put in place to stop Wolves out of it. There you go then, that's your scouting report for this week's trip to Molineux. Of course, on the Sunday, because of Wolves' Europa League action, they play Espanyol on Thursday night, so worth keeping an eye on that one. But there you go. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the Pink and YouTube channel as well. Check out Terrace Talk from earlier on in the week. We spoke to some Norwich City fans about their views on this week's upcoming fixture. Some interesting ones as well. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.